Hello everyone, in this video I would like to build a highway interchange using a technique that will help me design the whole thing so that building the final interchange will be faster and more efficient in terms of not needing to do some trial and error, and I'm going to be far less likely to forget any connections. The interchange needs to connect the airport to the highway network and also provide another highway exit for future expansion of the city in this area. In case you don't watch my videos and you are here only for the technique, I must mention that I'm not playing a vanilla game. I have a lot of mods, most of which are not relevant to what I'm going to do here today, but the absolutely necessary ones for this are Move It, Fine Road Anarchy, and Network Skins 2. And to make your life easier, stuff like Fine Road Tools, Electrix's Road Tools, and Traffic Manager President Edition are always nice for any serious infrastructure project. Links in the video description. I decided to do a trumpet-style 3-way interchange with additional ramps for the 4th way. And to better visualize it, I first built a prototype. This prototype is basically a quick drawing of all the connections, but built without caring much for proper geometry and scale. To better see if I didn't forget any connections, I used the Network Skins 2 mod. This mod now lets you repaint individual network segments with different colors. You just pick a color on a color palette and apply it to a segment using the standard road upgrade tool. Also, the recently used colors are saved by the mod, so you can call them up later, and you can actually give colors your own names as well. You can immediately see that it's much clearer where the ramps go, where they originate from, and what purpose they serve. Also, with the prototype build, you can judge the ramps if, for example, they will have to be too steep, if they won't collide with other ramps, and generally if the overall design is just something you would like to see. The finished product is of course always going to be a lot better looking. It took me just a couple of minutes to draw the prototype. It's really not hard and it will save me time and energy when doing the actual thing. So since this is a 4-way interchange, every road needs to go into 3 separate ways. This means that every way needs to have 2 splits. And if we look at the red color, for example, that's these 2 points. For the light green, it's these 2. If the entire prototype was the same standard color, it might take a while to figure that out. Not really for a simple interchange like this, although this principle obviously can be applied for a much more complicated connections where it will really shine. An example of this is, for example, the main super interchange that I have in my city, Aurelia. For this example, I copy-pasted it with Move It and placed it here in the open. And just by looking at it, can you quickly tell me where all the connections go and what is their purpose? It's not super obvious at first, is it? Even for me at this point. Let's now color it like I did before. And now it's a lot clearer and you can tell the purpose of each of these ramps. Sure, it's still not easy, but it's more obvious than before. You might wonder how exactly color the different connections. Is there some system to it? It doesn't really matter. In my opinion, you just need to make sure not to overlap the same colors, for example with some loops or something, as that might make it slightly confusing. So it's always better to use as many colors as possible to differentiate all the connections. But sometimes, just like with the trumpet interchange, if I go back to it, it might be better to have one color for one direction, or maybe one color for all connections with the same origin point. But it's really up to you to try it out and see what's best for you. One quick note about the Network Skins 2 mod. I am not using the standard highways, but I'm using a workshop pack called the Shuto Expressways. I like them more because the highways are nice and slim, which is very good for complicated interchanges. But the expressways with odd numbers of lanes for some reason cannot be repainted with this mod. It's probably due to the way the networks are textured, I guess, not sure. Anyway, for the color prototype, it doesn't really matter, as you can make it from any road you want. I used the 2-lane expressway, but you can obviously use the vanilla highways without issues. So that's it, that's the prototype, that's the technique. Let's now focus on the real thing. Because of the glitch with the taxiways that I explained in the last video, I turned off the road colors ++ or something. I'm not sure what it's called precisely. It's the mod that makes the roads darker, all of the roads. I'm doing this commentary a lot later after I built this interchange. Since then, I downloaded the CSUR pack of highway roads with the associated mods, and surprisingly, it allows you to also repaint all roads in the game at once, in real time as well. So I started using that, and the taxiway glitch is gone, so that's nice. I can now have the taxiways, nicely visible, and all the highways and roads in Aurelia darker compared to the standard gray color. Speaking of the CSUR pack, many of you probably know it, maybe even use it. I think I saw $2.20 use it in his series. It's a pack made of an insane amount of different highway roads, ramps, splits, connectors, and so on. And it allows you to build ridiculously good-looking, realistic interchanges because of the way connections are treated with those networks. So I experimented a lot with that pack, but with another much more complicated interchange than this one, a new one. And it was unfortunate but quite painful to discover after many hours that even though there are probably more than 100 different roads in that pack, it is still not enough for some of the designs in my city. So unfortunately, well, not really unfortunately, but I'm just keeping the Shuto expressways in the city, as you can see here, even for the future designs. Also, the compatibility between these expressways and the CSUR is not great. I would inevitably be forced to convert all my highways to the CSUR, and that's just not going to happen. With this interchange, I started with the loops, and since I wanted it to be nice and circular, I used the round office building that I used many times in the city before to fill exactly these kinds of highway loops. Maybe later I will keep that building in here, but not sure yet. Right now it serves as a good template for the circles, so I can just use Move It to quickly shape the circles without caring for a proper geometry right from the start. I already started to create the final shape of connections between the ramps and the main highways. This is somewhat complicated, but since I did this a couple of times before, I already knew when these particular highways form nice connections, what I need to do with Move It, with all the nodes around the connections. This would be obviously completely different for the vanilla highways or some different packs of roads. And like before, like I said, if I was using the CSUR, this would be just much better looking. But with these expressways, it still looks much better than the standard wider highways. This way, it actually does look like I'm providing a, nice lanes for cars entering the main direction. Of course, this needs to be made functional with the traffic manager to make sure that cars are not going to mix into the merging lane right away from the straight direction, but sometime later. I'm using this layout almost everywhere in the city for splitting and merging the main highway. Just having a 4-lane highway and then the rightmost lane just goes off, and the rest of the 3 lanes just continue up until the point when a different lane just merges back to form the original 4-way highway. Here I did it slightly differently. I usually don't do it this way, but this was the first interchange project after a really long time. So I made multiple connections to merge with the main highway. I usually don't like that. It's better, in my opinion, to first merge all the ramps together and then make it connect to the main highway only at one point. It even looks cleaner that way, and it's much better for the actual connection building, let's say. Also, the main highway is slightly curved, so some of the connections are not all that precise. The entire interchange is also quite high above the ground because the main highway needs to continue to the bridge over the river, so it needs to gain some elevation before that. This made the design easier as I could fit all the ramps underneath it, but at the same time, some of these ramps need to be quite long, so they are not too steep. It's not a problem for the airport connection, but it was a concern for the surface exit. I finally decided to make this exit connect to a roundabout, which doesn't have any purpose right now. I just roughly planned 2 main roads going through it, which is probably going to be some sort of a main street through this area. The roundabout needs to be quite far from the interchange, exactly because of the steep ramps. They just need to gradually gain some elevation before they are able to merge with the main highway. Could have probably been done by some loops so that the roundabout could be closer to the interchange, but this is just fine. So that's it. That is the interchange. It is now complete. It has all the connections it needs to have, and it doesn't look bad at all. In the next video, I'm going to build another highway interchange, but this time it will be a lot more complicated. It will technically be a 6-way interchange, so definitely something to look forward to, and I'm also going to use the same color technique to build it. One more thing that I want to say, guys, thank you very much for all your comments that you made for the previous airport video. It was amazing seeing all the support, saying that you're glad that I decided to give this game a second chance, so I really do thank you for all of that. Like I mentioned in the community posts, I will probably be posting stuff a bit more frequently than I planned, but that's just because I have more time than usual right now, and because of the stay-at-home situation as well, of course, and because I'm a bit lagging behind with the video making since I already have material ready for more videos. But don't get used to it. I was serious last time when I said I don't plan on doing weekly videos anymore. So keep checking the community posts here on YouTube and Twitter, where I will be announcing future uploads. Thanks for watching today's video. Hopefully it was helpful to you and you liked it. If you did, then you can put a thumbs up underneath the video, share the video if you think someone might find it helpful too, and you can of course leave a comment, maybe ask some questions if you want. That is all. Go build some interchanges. Take care and goodbye.